Today I was gifted with the beautiful opportunity to be a part of something incredible. And so I wanted to share a little bit with you guys. I took a lot of recordings of this incredible event just to find that my audio was messed up on literally all of them. But it's okay. Everything happens for a reason. I believe that. And so I'm going to just make do with what I've got, because this is too important to not share. It really is. She's Unstoppable Summit. It was hosted by Sage Robbins, Tony Robbins' wife. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but I have attended a few of his free seminars online, and as well as quite a few other ones, like, let's see, who else? I attended Chris Duncan, a super conscious one, and I can't remember all their names, but like some, financial freedom and how to heal and, different trauma releasing summits and things like this, all virtual events. And this was my most recent one. I stopped going to these for probably about a year and a half because I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Okay, so I am currently financially unstable. There we go. Have been for quite a while. I mean, in my whole life, really, if I'm honest, but especially the past couple of years. And so I don't have dollars at my disposal to be able to take their courses. So that's what deterred me, is because, not that I just didn't have the money, but it would piss me off. I would get super, I'd go to these events and they're dropping these beautiful golden nuggets of wisdom and, giving me these eye-opening, insight and things like this. And I'm very, very grateful. I don't regret having gone to any of them for the knowledge that I have gained and the experience, even too, just being a part of that. Like today's was all women. 250,000 women all at once tuning in. And I tell you guys what, I literally could feel the energy of that. Like I could tap into just this massive wave of it really made me bawl my eyes out. I just can't even lie. It really did.
And to accept her exactly as she is.
In a beautiful way, in the best way. But in the past, these other ones, I would go to these events and get all super hyped up, I'd get super jazzed up, and the way that I work is like, once I get hyped up about something, like, I'm full throttle. I am, that's me. Once I get a hyperfixation, it's 1,000 miles an hour, as far as I can go, as fast as I can go, until I either burn out or get another hyperfixation. That's just how I work. It's true. And so I'd get into that hyped up mode, whatever, the masterclass or whatever was about, and then they'd be like, to learn the rest of this, all you have to do is pay $3,000 or $1,000 or whatever. And every time it would make me so mad, especially because not just that I couldn't do it, but like, so many of them had this attitude of, if you actually are passionate about this, if you really want to make a difference, all you have to do is choose. And I'm over here like, no, that's not all you have to do, because some people are literally just trying to make sure that they can eat tonight. Bruh. So I could be as serious about it as I flippity want, and I don't get to just choose, oh, I actually do want to do this, and I could go and pay it. Because guess what? Not a single one of them have any kind of financial, no financial aid. No, nothing for the brokies. Gatekeeping. That's what it felt like. So anyways, that's why I haven't gone for a long time to any of these. I just stopped going. Until very recently. Like I said, I've been to several of Tony Robbins' online virtuals, the free ones. And I love his energy. Out of all of them that I went to, he's the realest motherfucker. For real. All the other ones, and that's the other thing too, all the other ones, they had this, it almost felt like exploitation to me, especially when it comes to the woo-woo. I don't like that. If you're on this, soul mission like I am, and you're claiming that, and you're, and I'm not upset that people are making money off of this, because they deserve to have their worth honored. So I get that, and I put respect on that. But it just so much of it felt to me like they weren't really, like their heart wasn't really in it. They were in it for this. That's what it felt like with a lot of them. Not with Tony. Even though I still couldn't afford to go to his other things, but he didn't give that vibe one bit to me. And so this was the very first time that I ever even met his wife on this commercial that just popped up on my YouTube feed of this She's Unstoppable Summit today. And I'm not gonna lie, it actually popped up several times. My spirit team, my guides were like making it very obvious because I'm stubborn as fuck. And like I had already made that decision, over a year and a half ago that I was done with that ish until I had the money to be able to just drop and be able to actually go, experience these things fully and not just get a little sliver of it, because it's like, then it's just a tease to myself. So I wasn't gonna do it. I wasn't even gonna, because I was like, in my head, I'm like, I already know it's just gonna be the same like every motherfucking thing else, where you just have to pay a bunch of money. And I'm not gonna lie, there is a thing where you can pay a bunch of money. There is with this as well, but that wasn't the main focus. That was like a cherry on top. It was like, if this is something that is really touching your heart and soul and you want to like dive deep into this and be a part of this community, in this physical, tangible way, it was more like an offer, as opposed to those other ones felt like it was like a hook. So the commercials would be like, come to this free seminar and learn this, 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 and this, and then they would only give, maybe 2 or 3 of their things that they promised, and then they'd be like, oh, and the rest, just pay $3,000, whatever. This one wasn't like that. This one wasn't like that at all. I cried so many times. It's the beautiful kind of tears, It's like the tears of connection, the tears of, I felt seen, even though I wasn't on the seminar. I wasn't actually there. I wasn't even on the screen. You had to pay, $37 for the upgrade to be on the screen and be a part, be able to ask questions and interact like that. I wasn't. I was just on the free part on YouTube. I'm just watching. But I felt seen for the first time in maybe ever, actually, if I'm so for real with you. And yeah, so lengthy introduction. Without further ado, here is what I was able to put together with my effed up audio recordings from this beautiful experience today. And Tony and Sage, thank you for being you. I love you already, even though I've never even met you officially. And I hope this is okay for me to do this. I hope that this makes you feel honored and not like I'm trying to take any kind of credit for your beautiful work. Thank you.
If you don't believe in the concept of divine, the force that guided those turtles to the ocean, that's the force I'm speaking about. Where we catch ourselves from the constant rejection, demonization, criticism of ourselves and others. For being what? For being human? For simply being human? It's a place where we discover our thoughts, our worries, our fears, and our frustrations. They truly can be eclipsed by an overwhelming sense that all is well. She's bold. She's timid. She's tender. She's strong. She's loving. She's fierce. She's brilliant and wise and capable of everything and anything that her heart desires. In this moment, she chooses to reconnect to the sheer power and the inner beauty that is the essence of her nature and the essence of her own existence. This is you. This is me. And it's up to each of us. It's up to each of us to claim her, to renew her, to restore her, to embrace her, to allow her, to honor her, and to accept her exactly as she is. Perfect, whole, and complete. No matter what she looks like, no matter what flaws she believes she has, we are perfect, whole, and complete. And that's what we're doing here today, aren't we? Yes. To remember that each of us has the power and the innate capacity to rise above the noise of our minds. to rise above the noise of the world, to rise above our heartaches, to rise above our pains, our loss, and to accept it, to bless it, to release it, and to let it the frick go. We've carried it long enough. Who longs for a sisterhood that's kind? A sisterhood that's connected. Yes, me too. A sisterhood where we can be hunters for goodness. Women who stand up for each other, who stand up to support life, their sisters, their brothers, their families. Women who choose to not tear each other down. Women who choose to awaken to the true power, which is our capacity to love. And this is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. And this is why we created our She's Unstoppable Summit. In and inhaling the atmosphere of the love in this moment. And as you exhale, you simply let it go. We don't even have to be aware of what we're letting go of. As you inhale, noticing we are being breathed. So when mind is going in the past, mind is judging, mind maybe believes, Kim, that I don't know how I'm going to let go of this. I don't know if I can forgive him or her. I don't know if all those thoughts, I'm enough, it doesn't matter. Those thoughts aren't personal. We believe they are. It's universal mind. It's just whether we believe them or not depends whether we're suffering or not. And so this is a practice of 30 seconds, 60 seconds of grace to reconnect to her so you can feel grounded, you can feel your most authentic version of yourself, and you can feel centered. Your words, Kim. Thank you. Your smile is beautiful. Let's give a hand for this beautiful woman. That's extraordinary. The wisdom of your heart, of your soul. How do we turn our pain into our power, which is essentially our love? You know, I really believe that life is happening for us, not to us. There's not a human being, just everybody, just for a moment, let's do an exercise. Who has experienced pain and trauma? Raise your hands. Just yes. Because it's human.
Yeah.
And it's human, and it's for us to awaken us, to open us, to resurrect us, to break our heart open to a million pieces for us. You know, pain in the moment is one thing, but the pain of the story that we tell ourselves again and again and again is actually more painful than the actual circumstance. Does that connect or resonate? It's like, I don't know about you, but it's decimating. To feel we've all been on the ground with tears and feeling like I can't do this, I can't go on. You know? And then life, if you're here in this moment, we've all risen. We've all had that innate capacity, and you've done it or you wouldn't be sitting here in front of us. And so how do we not keep revisiting the trauma? How do we not keep revisiting the pain? We make a choice to rewrite the stories that are arresting us, to uproot the stories that cause us such pain and that cause us to focus on the trauma. Notice from this understanding, how did it open you?
She's here to share her life's experiences in hopes that it inspires you to become unstoppable. Take a look.
I always felt like an underdog. I never thought I would be great one day. Winning is just a wonderful experience. I hate to lose, but I think losing has brought me here today. It's the only reason I am who I am is because of my losses. Some of them are extremely painful, but I wouldn't take any of them away.
the greatest of all time.
Into seventh Australian Open and her 23rd Grand Slam title.
Compton, California, the U.S. Open champion.
A moment we might not see again in history.
The most dominant tennis player of all time. She's also a business mogul and movie producer too.
I describe myself first as a mom. I'm a mom. I'm a businesswoman. And I'm a free spirit. The thing I'm most proud of from my history is just being able to persevere. I think perseverance is something that is not often talked about.
As you look back, $500 million in earnings over the course of your career.
For me, money was never a motivation. This isn't about me. It's not about me raising capital. We are investing in women. We are investing in people of color. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, your age, you can achieve anything that you set your mind to. Some people might not believe in you, but you have to believe in you. And sometimes you're going to be your own cheerleader. You have to be your biggest and your best cheerleader.
Drop your love in the chat for this beautiful soul. Yes! You're incredible. It is such a privilege and a gift to have you here, Serena. You're the isness of who you are, the spirit of who you are, the strength of who you are. I love that you put mother first. You represent all of us as women, and you reflect to all of us what's possible. So thank you for being here.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me. You're so sweet.
Thank you. I'm curious, we have close to 500,000 women from all around the world, Serena, and we can all as humans, never mind women, feel an internal and external pressure at times. What practices, I suppose, have you done? Any meditation or anything of that nature in order to support your own mental well-being?
I feel like sometimes I do a lot, not sometimes, I do a ton of prayer, and I guess that is a form of meditation.
Absolutely.
So also just really setting boundaries. I think setting boundaries are super important, and letting people know we don't cross this boundary. Or my boundary might be like, this is the day where I go for a walk, an hour-long walk, or whatever that is. I think it's super important to set those boundaries and also do something for you. As difficult as that, as easy as it sounds to some people, and as difficult as it may be, I think it's super important for your mental health to just take a deep breath. And I think I used to not actually have boundaries. I had to learn how to set them, and it's okay. It's okay to say, you know what, this is my time. I don't care if the kids need something. Like this is my time, and they're gonna be okay. Because in the end, they actually are, and it's just learning that, and it's so hard.
It is,
but it's just really trying to learn that it's okay to do something for yourself. I think that has been the most difficult thing for me to do, but that's what I'm trying to do. And it's still work in progress of just trying to, for my mental health, is just to try to take some time for myself.
And if you take, just one question, I'm curious, if you're taking time for yourself, what does that look like? What is something that you enjoy?
Okay, so that's a really good question. It could be something as simple as getting your nails done. Let me tell you, that is my
Who
life.
can relate?
It is so relaxing.
It's so true.
Honestly, I sit there, and it's only 40 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour, whatever it is, right? It's not what that makes me so relaxed and so happy. It's something. It makes me feel good, look good, feel good, right? And it just also I just feel like I'm doing something for myself. That's one example. Another example is I like to go for walks for my health. That's also taking time for myself. It's I see that, I have the kid, but it's listen, this is actually going to help me be better for you in the long run. So those are just some examples of little things that I learned. I didn't always do them, but I've learned to do for myself.
I meet you in that. I feel like I'm still a work in progress and still learning that reality to take care of.
In a sense, we all are. We all are work in progress. And I think as long as we remember that and understand that and give ourselves
grace, what she just said is so powerful.
Just so much that is expected of us, and so we don't often we are so quick to give someone else grace.
Isn't it
But
true?
we're so hard on ourselves. And so I think it's so important to kind of, whatever you would feel and do for someone else, don't be afraid, or don't hesitate. There's a phrase I go, or don't hesitate to do that for yourself as well.
Yes.
One thing I've learned is I'm never going to be my best version every day. Like,
Nice.
and one thing, a mantra that I put forward now is like, every day I get out of bed, just say, put my best foot forward, whether that's in my relationship
Yeah.
or whether that's in my life. And I know that some days my best foot forward might be just a stumbling foot and it just might not be good, but that's okay. And also, when you're building a business, there's so many ups and downs. And I
Yes.
feel like if you ever feel like, gosh, am I doing the right thing? I pause and I say, yes. Now that I'm even having those questions, it means I'm going on the right track. I'm doing the right thing.
Wow, guys, I just want to point out, God, am I doing the right thing? Yes. Serena keeps her momentum going forward. I'm just pointing out, you're like dropping like these jewels of
Yeah,
wisdom. And it's so
yeah,
extraordinarily profound
yeah.
to know that no matter what is, see if this translates for you, Serena, like whatever is, what you're doing, where you are, it's for you. And so you just keep, you know that you're doing the right thing because you're connected to that truth. So there's less heaviness or density or should I or shouldn't I. Would that resonate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Cool.
Just making sure that it's okay to doubt. Everyone doubts, but
Yeah.
don't stop. Just because you doubt doesn't mean you have to stop. You can always question and don't let doubt, teeter too long because you don't want those seeds to fester and to grow to big vines and plants, right? So
Yeah.
it's okay to have that, but then just own it and be proud that you are second guessing yourself in terms of like checking your work. It's like you go back and you kind of like check your homework kind of thing, and that's
Cool.
great. It's actually good that we do that. But then move forward.
Yeah.
Be confident to know that I am doing the right thing, and I am supposed to be here, and I am, all this stuff, and I am willing to take this path, and so yeah, going forward from there.
That's beautiful.
She's wickedly intelligent, one of the most authentic women you'll ever meet.
She's literally 10x ourselves by restructuring the through line of our events.
And you know what will make it less messy, less scary, less imperfect? Doing it with other like-minded people.
She is incredibly brilliant. One of the people I go to for mentoring. She is such a gift to this planet. She's a gift to us. Please, let's give a huge welcome to my dear friend, Barry Baumgartner.
Hi there. Hi, how are you? So good to see you. So good to see you. I woke up this morning and I literally was thinking, you likely know Serena Williams. You probably know Maria Menounos. You definitely know Tony and Sage Robbins. Probably know Tyra Banks and Derek and Haley Huff. And if I... And if I had to guess, you probably don't know Barry Baumgartner. Some of you do, and I so appreciate it. And yet, I find myself here today hoping to inspire you to see what's possible for every single woman from every walk of life. Today, I get to live a life where I change the world one live event, one attendee at a time, because of the choices that I made along the way. And it all started with a little voice saying, you are meant for more. You're meant for more. You're meant for more. I am the sum of all my choices. My choices 6 days ago, 6 months ago, 6 years ago, 16 years ago, 26 years ago, 36 years ago. It's all a result of my choosing. And here's the thing about choosing. Some of the choices were good, and some were, shall we say, lessons. Some were lessons. And what I also know is that both are valuable. Both shape us. And it's better than bubble wrapping ourselves up in safety, afraid of the wrong choices, like, oh, I just don't want to make the wrong choice. Because our choices, they build muscle. They build determination. Choice is always about the pivotal moments when you look back on life, the ones that shape you, the ones that can define you forever, the ones that stop you or make you unstoppable. That's the thing about choice. And I look back at my own choices, grateful for every single one. They made me who I am today. They brought me here to you. Or choosing to deal with a husband who regularly chose drinking over me. And that little voice going, this is not my life. This is not my life. This is not my life. Or choosing to start my own business out of a bedroom in my house with nothing more than a business card and a big idea so that I could support us just until he got back on his feet. And that little voice saying, that could be my life. This could be my life. It could be better. And then when he didn't choose me, he didn't choose us. He chose drinking over both of those things. I chose to move to New York City. After my divorce, even though I knew not a single person, even though it was the most expensive city in the country and I was broke. But that little voice was saying, this is where I claim my life. This is where my business explodes. This is where it doubles in size. This is where I become who I was meant to be. And here's the thing about those little voices, our inner knowing doesn't have to make sense. In fact, it often doesn't. And yet you know. And listen, most would have cautioned against a 38-year-old divorcee starting her life over with a brand new business, moving to New York City. And at the time, my mother's offer of living in her basement apartment until things were more certain would have been a safer choice. It certainly would have been a more affordable choice than striking out for New York City for an apartment of my very own. But that little voice said, that could be my life. That could be my life. So I chose New York City. I chose bright lights, big city. I know it doesn't make sense, but I did it anyway. I did it scared. I did it messy. I did it imperfect. I did it anyway. Choices like those define our tomorrows, and they determine who we see in the mirror today. Who we see in the mirror. And when that little event business and that little New York City apartment grew to $1 million, and then $2 million, and then it grew to $3 million, I know, it's unbelievable to me too. And then on March 15th, 2020, COVID decimated it all. It was all gone in an instant. Gone, 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 gone. And that same little voice said, it doesn't end here. You choose. This is where you get to change other people's lives. You choose. You choose to be the victim or the victor. You choose to pivot from in-person and into virtual events. So I chose. And 2 weeks later, our first ever virtual event outperformed all of our previous in-person, 17 years of in-person. And 2 months later, Tony Robbins came calling. And together we built the prototype for this virtual stadium. And 2 months... And 2 months after that, our first ever virtual Unleash the Power Within. Bigger than any we'd ever done in person. And standing there looking at the audience, I said, do you see what I see? It's not just 25,000 attendees from 156 countries, which is already a record breaker. It's like 75,000. Because for the first time, whole families were watching together. And here's the thing. We don't always get to choose our circumstances, but we do get to choose what we do with them. We choose who we are today. We choose who we become tomorrow. We choose to learn from our mistakes. We choose to be the sum of all of our parts, all of our choices. Who you are right now is due to the choices you made in the past, and no judgment, yet it's true. And where you will be tomorrow is a result of the choices that you make today. Again, no judgment, and yet it's true. And there's this quote from Carl Jung that I just love. The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you. So you have to ask yourself who you are. Who are you being? How are you showing up? Because you can make the decisions or let the world do it for you. But you can't blame the world around you if you weren't ready to be fully responsible for the creation of you. You can't wait to decide until you know the answer. The journey is the answer. You are the answer. And here's the thing about choices and answers. It often starts with the vaguest of knowings, that little voice, a meant for more voice. I'm better than this. This is not my life. This could be my life. This is where I claim my life. This is where I change other people's lives. It's the sum of all those little voices. Because a calling is different than a dream. You can quit your dreams, you can try to quit your call, but your call will not quit you.
Businesswoman, entrepreneur, Tyra Banks.
Tyra Banks has formed herself into nothing less than a mogul, a cultural force, and a supernova of inspiration and empowerment.
I think adversity has been a gift to me. The color of my skin, being a black woman, that is a gift. Show other women watching, you watching right now, that you can do this.
If people could remember one thing about me, it would be that I want to leave this world more uniquely beautiful than what it is today.
You guys, let's hear it out for Tyra Banks! I'm curious, you juggle so many roles, and you're from supermodel to wife to businesswoman to daughter. How do you shift between those trajectories, and how do you bring your fullest, truest self to each without feeling pulled, or do you?
Yeah.
And it's hard, Sage.
Yeah.
We both have your little one is littler than mine, but they're still in that kind of, is it Generation Alpha, I think they're calling it. And we're working
That's so
women,
funny to
we're
think that these
hardworking women,
women
and the
have
world has changed,
Gen
and
Alpha
it's
kids
shifted,
just.
particularly after COVID,
Yes.
where we're now working at home.
Yes.
And so what happens is my son comes home from school and he sees mommy, but mommy's still at work.
Yes. Yes.
But he's at home. Lives are in this state. And I have to say, just put it down.
Yes.
And now he's cognizant of it. And he's like, Mommy, you're working and we're supposed to be hanging out. And I'm like, oh, but I just got to end. And I'm like, you know what? It can wait.
That's beautiful.
And I put it down and put it out of sight, because even just looking at it causes stress.
Yes.
Or the pull of that addiction of, I got to enter that email.
Yes.
I was going to say also there's a bit of an integration. So I'm in the ice cream business now.
Cool.
And so now I'm teaching my son so that he feels a part of work, because our work is also delightful.
Cool.
So I'm teaching him pairing now. And this salty thing goes with this sweet thing, and tell mommy what you think, and inhale, and the flavors go through. And so now he's participating and feels like a part of that.
Wow.
Because we still do work at home and he still does hear it. So I want him to feel like this is our business, not mommy's business. So for me, ice cream is not just the sweetness and the delectable, which is amazing, but it stands for my mama, and bonding in that car and talking about dreams and sacrifice to get our family and then later my dreams to come true.
That's unbelievable.
I love that.
That's unbelievable.
I grew up, connected to television and media, and even from a young age, I would see Tony back in the walking on the coal days, and I was just like, wow. And I would watch and see how he led people.
Yes.
And I used to think about Tony and how lucky I was to have my mama as that rock and that leader, and to help me get to where I needed and wanted to be. But not everybody has that mama like that. So to me, Tony was that mama, kind of a daddy, that had that strength to get people to the next place. So my mom and I used to talk about it. I'm like, Mama, I got you, and now the world has Tony. So that's kind of why I connected, because I saw what he was doing for people in that way.
That's beautiful. You guys, all the pain was worth it. Is it?
So I find myself on this journey right now, and it has been guiding me for the past few years. And my question is really for you. I would really like you to share your experience with us, how you navigate this life, how to best navigate this lifestyle of sharing this purpose with the world and sharing the services to kind of put yourself out there, to appear publicly more, and what is this journey like? I would love to get to know your insight and your experience in this matter.
Well, I'll share a personal story from the very first time. I wasn't always so bold, nor, open to share as vulnerably as this version of myself. Maybe like Tyra said, it's the gift of the stage of life. Being 50, I don't know. But, I was, really, I looked at myself before when Tony and I met really more as a healer. And I love the intimacy of one-on-one. And I never imagined that, I would do this on such a large scale. It actually never occurred to me. And I remember the very first time I ever spoke on a stage. Tony was so passionate, and he wanted to share my gifts and understandings about health. And so he called me up to the stage, and, they had a syntax. So there's a syntax of what the plan of the day looks like. And I'm much more of an in-the-flow person. Not that day. It's been an evolution to learn how to, follow a structure. And so they gave me this woman before I went out. It was like a 5-page syntax. And she's like, you do this, do this. And I was like, okay. And I was a baby. I was, maybe 27 years old. And I stood out on that stage, and I looked at these human beings looking back at me. There was maybe 3,000 people in the room. And I couldn't speak. I felt frozen. I felt completely stuck in fear, in my head, in thinking I need to do this, but I don't know how to do it. And so, I loved what Tyra talked about, how, you know, her pain has, it wasn't the word pain, I can't remember, but how it, like, it's defined her, it's shaped her, it's called her. And, you know, we don't, I think sometimes we forget the grace of our evolution. We're all just human beings. I'm literally a small town girl, salt of the earth. We are a hardworking family. But the one thing we always, my parents always taught us was to continue to, like, not give up and to rise, and no matter what life was offering us. And so that day when I walked off that stage, I literally wanted to, like, hide in a hole. And I went up to our room and I said, I can never go down and face people again. And then it was like that little voice saying, just go down, like, hold your head high with grace and just go down. And people were so generous, and it was so awkward. And I recognized, I remember feeling like if somebody asked me when my most humiliating moment of my life would have been, that would be one of them for sure. And I didn't know at the time that humiliation, I really believe, is a part of our humbling. It's for us to humble the parts of ourselves. What was I looking for? It was like I was looking to please externally rather than offering what was true in here in this moment. And so she's evolved, just like we are, just like this moment is. And I wasn't always this version of me. Yeah, but we evolve, we grow, we find ourselves, and hopefully our most authentic selves. That's been this journey, certainly, of like the passage of time or stages or seasons of life for myself. At this stage, it feels like a calling. It's beyond the human in me. I like a magnet. And the world stage right now, the confusion on the world stage, the demonization, the politicians and social media, it calls me forth because I know that not only I, but we are all more than that noise. We are all more than the judgments internally inside of our minds. And that calls me forward. It's why we created this community, to unleash her power within. This community for women who are for women, for life, to be able to connect and tap into that force. I'm still discovering her. I don't have this mastered. I'm still a work in progress. I'm learning here right now. I haven't done this before. I've done a version of this, but not exactly like this. I'm learning. You've all been so generous. The generosity that you've extended to all these beautiful guests and to each other. My prayer and hope is that we can all claim that gift for ourselves. We all said yes to this moment. We all felt called to this moment. And I don't have all the answers, but I'll share my experience. Does that help? And I think sometimes when we think of speaking, it's like this thing I'm going to go do. I actually think it's this thing that we are. Just like you right now, Sylvia. Just like you raising your hand. That takes courage. It takes unbelievable courage to put ourselves out there. Why? Because the external world isn't always kind. But what's super cool here, every comment has been gracious. Every comment has been beautiful. It's moved me. It pulls me to you. Reminds us all what's possible. It's what unity looks like. But that's my journey. It was a very awkward one, and a very stumbling one, and even a painful one at that time, if I'm being candid. But hey, here I am. You know, I found her.
I would find what resonates for you. I'd find what feels true for you.
UHPW supported me with breaking down the material in a way that was easy to digest, work on it with a group of women where I felt safe in that environment.
I went from a marriage where we kind of talk at each other to now, oh baby, we talk.
I'm down about 30 pounds. And then couldn't even wrap my head around the success that I'm having in my business right now. I work in a real estate office of just over 800 agents. Just checked, and I'm number 9 this month out of 800 agents.
And so because UHPW and Tony's teachings have been such a part of my daily living, we went from $0 in retirement to 6 figures. And that was simply some small disciplines practiced regularly that compounded.
There's this space to go deep, to dive into a deeper level of inquiry, to not only identify who you are, but to actually connect and to experience that reality.
There is no amount of money that is worth this beautiful essence of the person that I am becoming. Look, it's priceless. It's priceless.
The changes that I felt from Unleash Your Power Within and Unleash Your Power Within were just a feeling of strength, a feeling of being in control of my own experience. Like, it put me back in the driver's seat of my life.